Imagine for a moment that you are a house. You have strong walls, a locked front door, and a security system. A burglar doesn't just run at the front door with a sledgehammer. That makes too much noise. It attracts attention. Instead, they walk by casually. They try a window latch. They jiggle the handle of the back door. They check to see if the lights are on. These are not attacks. They are tests. Manipulators, whether they're narcissistic partners, toxic bosses, or envious friends, operate exactly the same way. They do not destroy your self-esteem overnight. They probe. They launch small, calculated experiments to see what you will tolerate. And the terrifying reality is that most of us are polite, decent people who are trained to open the door and invite them in. Today, we are going to expose the secret playbook of these emotional predators. We are going to look at the specific beta tests they run on you before the real abuse begins. Once you see these patterns, you can never unsee them. But here is the unsettling truth. You have likely failed one of these tests already without even realizing it. Let's start with the first probe, the "just kidding" insult. This usually happens when things are going well. You're at a dinner party with a new boyfriend, or you're in a meeting with a new female supervisor. The rapport is high. Then, out of nowhere, they say something that stings. For example, a husband might say in front of friends, "Yeah, Sarah's great, but she's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to money." Everyone laughs. You freeze. It felt like a slap, but the delivery was wrapped in a smile. If you get upset, the trap snaps shut. They will look at you with wide, innocent eyes and say, "Wow, you're so sensitive. I was just joking." This is the test. They are measuring your reaction time and your self-doubt. If you laugh along awkwardly to keep the peace, you have just given them permission to disrespect you publicly. You have signaled that your dignity is less important than the comfort of the group. But wait, because the next test is even more subtle, and it preys on your kindness. It is called the small boundary violation. Manipulators are masters of incrementalism. They know that if they ask for your life savings on the first date, you will run. So they start with $5. Imagine you have a new colleague. He seems charming and ambitious. One day he asks you to finish a small report for him because he's swamped with a family emergency. You're a team player, so you say yes. He thanks you profusely. You feel like a hero. Next week, he asks again. No emergency this time, just a really tight deadline. A month later, you're doing half his job, and if you dare to say no, he acts betrayed, as if you're the one letting him down. This works in relationships too. A girlfriend might accidentally leave her things at your apartment. Then she starts changing the radio station in your car without asking. Then she demands you cancel plans with your friends because she's had a bad day. They are testing the fence for weak spots. Every time you say it's no big deal, you're actually moving your boundary line backward. You're teaching them that your time, your space, and your energy are up for grabs. And just when you think you have them figured out, they switch tactics completely. This brings us to the most dangerous probe of all, the vulnerability harvest. This happens early in the relationship. It feels like intense intimacy. The other person opens up to you rapidly. A man might tell you on the second date about his traumatic childhood, his crazy exes, and his deepest fears. A new friend might confess a dark secret over coffee. Your empathy kicks in. You feel special. You feel trusted. So, naturally, you reciprocate. You tell them about your insecurities. You tell them that you're afraid of being abandoned, or that you struggle with feeling not good enough at work. You think you're bonding. In reality, you're handing them the ammunition they will use to shoot you later. This is a strategic data breach. They're not being vulnerable, they're phishing. Once they know you fear abandonment, they know exactly how to control you by threatening to leave. If they know you feel incompetent, they will use that specifically to dismantle your confidence when you eventually disagree with them. I didn't believe this was calculated until I saw it play out in high-stakes corporate negotiations, but it happens in living rooms every single day. Now, let's look at the test that catches almost everyone off guard, the reaction to no. This is the ultimate litmus test. The only way to truly know someone's character is to tell them no and watch their eyes. A healthy person respects a no. If you tell a healthy partner, "I can't come over tonight, I'm exhausted," they say, "No problem, get some rest." A manipulator views no as a declaration of war. Let's say you have a female friend who constantly asks for favors. Finally, you set a boundary. You say, "I can't lend you the car this weekend." Watch what happens. Does she pout? Does she give you the silent treatment? Does she suddenly bring up a favor she did for you 3 years ago to make you feel guilty? Or worse, does she get angry and aggressive? This reaction is the mask slipping. They are testing to see if your no is solid concrete or just a suggestion. If you cave in because of the guilt trip, you have failed the test. You have taught them that no actually means convince me harder. But here's where it gets truly dark. If you pass these tests, if you hold your boundaries, if you don't laugh at the insult, if you keep your secrets safe, the manipulator will often discard you. And this is painful. You might wonder, what did I do wrong? Why did they leave? You didn't do anything wrong. You simply proved you were a bad victim. You were a house with a security system that worked, so the burglar moved on to an easier target. However, if you are currently in a situation where you feel like you're walking on eggshells, where every conversation feels like a trap, and where you're constantly apologizing for things you didn't do, you need to understand one thing. This isn't an accident. You are in the middle of a conditioning program. The manipulator is not probing anymore. They have moved in. They have taken the data from those early tests and built a custom-made cage for you. They know you won't speak up because you didn't speak up about the "just kidding" insult 3 months ago. They know you will give them money because you couldn't say no to the small favors. Recognizing this pattern is not about becoming paranoid. It is about becoming observant. It is about understanding that trust is earned over time, not given away freely because someone creates a false sense of urgency. Real relationships, whether romantic or professional, are not built on tests. They are built on mutual respect. A person who loves you or respects you will not poke your boundaries to see if they collapse. They will help you reinforce them. So, look at your relationships right now. Look at the people who claim to have your back. When you say no, do they respect you or do they punish you? When you express a need, do they listen or do they call you too sensitive? The answers to these questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. We have all been there. We have all ignored the red flags because we wanted to be loved or accepted or promoted. But the cost of admission to their world is your self-respect. If you have realized that someone in your life is running these tests on you, you have a decision to make. You can continue to pass their tests and lose yourself, or you can fail their tests on purpose and reclaim your freedom. I want to know your story. Have you ever noticed these small probes before a relationship turned toxic? What was the moment you realized it wasn't just a joke? Tell me in the comments below. I read the stories you share, and they help others realize they are not crazy. Understanding the game is the only way to win it, but knowing the signs is just the beginning. The next step is learning how to dismantle their leverage without blowing up your entire life. Stay with me, because we're going to go deeper into that strategy soon.